we have the board in front of us, and what sticks out is that Vrej is the first to decide where to place on this low ore board. Why is it a low ore board? Because, well, ore only has 3 tiles, but the 5, the 10, and the 2 are also not that great numbers. And if you have a low ore board, it depends how low they are. Like the 5 ore is still pretty good, so I wouldn't say everyone needs to go for a port strategy, but we will certainly see some players do that. I'd say building on the 5 ore is pretty good because it is close to the 8 wood and the 10 sheep. So the 5, 8, 10 is a pretty solid strategy. We see David, who is we can only see David's point of view in this game, and I'd like to thank him for giving us that opportunity. And he is also offering over another few spots like the 3, 6, 9, the 9, 5, 10, 8, 4, 10, 5, 6, 11 with the weed. The 9, 5, 10 is then at the left, 8, 4, 10 is at the top, 3, 6, 9 is at the top as well. We also have 2, 3, 6, 11s. One with all wheat, so that's an interesting spot that will not likely be picked because the 5, 6, 11 is next to it, which leaves open the 3, 6, 11 with the brick. We also have the 8, 10, well, the 8, 10, 3, or the, well, most likely the 8, 4, 3, because the 8, 5, 10 is likely to be picked. Okay. I expect the 10, 3, 11, or the, well, yeah, most likely the 10, 3, 11 to be left open. So that means picking the 8, 5, 10 now would guarantee Vrej with a pretty decent or with cheap game. If it's the play he wants to go with, I don't know. The brick is pretty high, like it has the 8 brick, the 4, the 8 brick, the 9 brick, and the 11 brick, pretty good. Wood has similar numbers. Sheep is quite rare as well on this board, like 5, 10, 4, 12. Doesn't give that much sheep if we have an average dice roll, which we won't. So let's see how that turns out. There are also quite a good, like the 5 sheep is going to be locked when the 9, 5, 10 and the 5, 6, 11 are going to be picked. What's really key on this board is that the 8, 5, 10 and the 5, 9, 10 have the same resources. So if the first player, in this case Vrej, will go with the 8, 5, 10, the second player here, Kaytwenty, can go with the 5, 9, 10. And the reason that is a strong play is because the first player will have a worse combination than the second player. And I think that's really strong to do. And we might see Vrej picking another spot just because of that reason. I don't know if he focuses on that very much, like the 5, 8, 10 is still a really solid pick. But he's also looking at the 3, 6, 9. And that's a really interesting spot as well. The highest wheat, alongside the 5, 6, like the other 6 wheat. You have a good brick and a decent wood. You can play a strong the strong wood brick game, potentially, if you get another good wood. I don't see many opportunities for playing the road, and I'm not a huge fan of going for road strategies with your first pick, just because you would leave open the strong or cheap spots for other players. Like if someone can get 5, 8, 10, 5, 6, 11, yeah, you don't want that to happen. On another note, well, maybe there are other spots. You could also go for 5, 9, 10 instead of the 5, 8, 10. Just because you want like a higher sheep. Or maybe you want the 3 for 1 port, because the 5, 8, 10 doesn't have a 3 for 1 port, so that's a big disadvantage for Vrej right here. And with these types of games, it's very difficult to say if the starting positions, how much do they matter? Like, if you have a terrible setup, of course they matter a lot. But from the point you have like a setup with the potential to win, it's almost just better than having the strongest setup, because the strongest setup will get dropped a lot. like all these players are going to say, hey, he has a stronger setup, rob him. Okay, so we see Vrej pick the 8-4-10 with the highest brick on the board and still on the 10 ore, and he also has a 3-for-1 board with this setup. Really interesting. So what does he expect will be left open? This could be 9, 10, 11. I don't think he expects the 5, 6, 11 to be left open, but maybe the 6, 11, 12 or something like that. I'm honestly quite surprised with this pick. I wouldn't have gone this way. And the reason for that is that it's not the highest producing spot, and I don't think you can really get the strongest setup with this spot. But just like I mentioned, the reason for that could be because there are two similar spots in the 5-8-10 and the 9-5-10 that you can get locked out of a good combination spot by Kaytwenty. And that probably won't happen with the 8-4-10. Maybe he expects to be the best wood brick player. Maybe he wants to combine it with a 4-9-11 or something along those lines. Maybe 4-5-11. I don't know, we'll see what will be left open. I don't think the 5-4-11 will be left open because the 5-6-11 will probably be picked. Although I'm not sure about that because there aren't that many high ore spots. Like 5-6-11, 5-2 won't cut the won't cut it in this game. So 5-8-10 is probably the only settlement we'll see on the 5 ore at the start. The strategy could be placing on a 9-10-2 and then getting your second settlement towards the 5 ore. But that's like for players who really need ore, like, and that I could see that being happening. Like another player will go on a 9-5-10, another player on 8-5-10, so there aren't many good ore spots left. Like nobody's going to settle on the Sol 10 ore, and probably nobody's going to settle on the 5-2. So then the 9-10-2 could become a strategy on itself. However, I could also see, like on low ore boards, port strategies become pretty effective because you can trade in 2 resources for an ore, and that's maybe more effective than building on the 10-9-2 and like putting all your money on the 5 to roll after you've built on it. That's a bit risky. So I'm really curious to see what Kaytwenty is going to pick here. I expect either the 5-9-10 or the 8-5-10, but it could also be the 3-6-9 because he wants to make it difficult for Vrej. However, I don't think that will happen because then third position is gonna go 5-6-11 and will be able to combine it with either the 9-5-10 or the 5-8-10, and that's too good to beat. So I expect either the 5-6-11, 9-5-10 or 8-5-10. And we'll see whatever he has a preference for. Like, it could also be... Ooh, I might just see a strategy for Vrej right here. He also has the wheat board nearby. Like, my main focus was on the 3-for-1 board, but if you can get the wheat board and, let's say, the 3-6-11 with the double wheat and the brick, or maybe even 3-6-11 all wheat, then you have a pretty solid 2-for-1 board. And that can be pretty good, like really good. Like, so I could see 3-6-11, 8-4-10 work pretty well. Let's see what Kaytwenty will decide to do. Like, for me, it's between 9-5-10, 8-5-10. A reason I wouldn't consider the 5-6-11 as second position is because you only gain 2 different resources. So we see the 8-5-10 picked by Kaytwenty. And he won't have a 3-for-1 board nearby. I have a personal preference of a 3-for-1 board over 2-for-1 boards, because 2-for-1 boards are more likely to get blocked from what I've seen. Because the block, like, people often just want to make a good block, like an effective block. So, haha, I did something to hurt you. And, like, if you have a strong resource and a 2-for-1 port, it's very likely people will block that strong resource just so they have an effective block, and unless that player is in lost position, of course. But so that's why I think it's a downside to rely on 2-for-1 ports. However, this is the most production. This is by far the best ore. So I don't necessarily disagree with Kaytwenty's pick here. Like, it could definitely work out very well. So now yellow has the decision to go for either the 369, 5611, 9510. I think they are the highest producing spots, and I think Stocky Ranger is looking forward to his pick, unless yellow is gonna go with the 9510, because the 9510 combines really well with both the 3611 and the 5611. However, the 3611 and the 5611, although they combine relatively well, they don't combine super well. However, I'd say if someone, like if yellow's gonna go for the 9510 here, which I think he should, because there's also the 3611, he, like, 4th position will have a difficult setup, sure. If he doesn't pick the 5910, it's gonna combine really well with the other spot. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing yellow picking the 9510 here, and I don't see any other way this is going to be something else. Okay, so maybe we can get Hawkeye on the line. That would be awesome. So then I won't have to carry the commentary on my own. So let's see. Okay, I don't think there's much left to mention about this. It's really interesting to go for either the wheat port or the 3-for-1 port in Robert's position. Like, if you expect to combine the 5910 with the 3611, you don't have a 3-for-1 port nearby the 3611. So that would be. So then I point my road towards the 3-for-1 port on the wood and the sand tile. Okay, so we're gonna have Hawkeye in the mix. Hey Hawkeye, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I'll put up your volume a little bit, and then can you see the board, Hawkeye?
I can.
Nice. Okay. So what I was saying is that I think the 9510 is going to be the pick by yellow, and we see exactly as I predicted it, so good for me. I think the 9510 is pretty good because now you don't give a combination with 9510 either with the 5611 or the 693 at the top. And I think
definitely.
So Hawkeye, what do you?
I think you have to think about if you'll get wheat or not, and like there's 3 wheat spots left. So I think the 9510 makes.
Yeah, I was looking at this spot. Like, the 9510 combines really well with the 3611 with the brick. So I'd say this is a really strong setup to pull, especially because you can get potentially the sheep port as well. Might be difficult in a race against the 348, but I'd say you have good odds of getting there. For 4th position, what would you go with here, Hawkeye?
It's a little tough. It's like you're not gonna be on ore unless you decide to go with the 910-2, point to the 5-2, which actually is not that bad of a play. Yeah, the 910 point to the 5 and the 693s actually not that bad. You get the 3-1, you get a chance to connect your roads for long and short possibly. But yeah, you have to think about where you're leaving blue as well. Yeah, blue getting the sheep port would be pretty good. I don't think you'd want to leave blue than 693 either. It's kind of a tough position. It looks like either way, like you're going to leave blue a pretty strong setup.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you could do something like 834, 369, but I think that's too low production, especially if you compare it, and leaving open the 5, 6, 11 is not that good of an idea. For like, that's a really good combination spot for both, for like blue, red, and gray. So I'd say you have to pick 5, 6, 11 or block it out. And I would go 3, 6, 11, 5, 6, 11. 3, 6, 9, 5, 6, 11. Because that's the highest production, you take the best spots of the board, and I think with a 3 for 1 port, you can manage to get enough ore on a low ore board.
Yeah, once you get on 3 for 1 port, your 6 wheat, you're essentially able to convert it to ore. I guess wheat, unfortunately, is like the worst thing you want to port, since you also need that for cities to go with your ore.
Yeah.
It was definitely a tough position for sure.
In my mind, I would put, like, on the 3, 6, 11, I would pick that a second so I can pick up a free road, but then I would point my road towards the 6 2 and get the 3 for 1 port. And maybe you can get like 1 to 2 ores over the course of the game from the 2 ore. Then you actually have a good chance of taking a city right away. What's really key here, if like, is the 4 9 11 going to be picked? And if I look at the setups from the other players, I think it would go really well with the setup by yellow, but I expect him to go on the 3 6 11. So that could be really good here. On the other hand, it's still a really high producing spot, like 834 will still be left open. I expect that to go along with, well, could go to either player. I'm really interested to see what Kaytwenty will select as his second settlement, because that really makes or breaks if the 5 6 11 and 3 6 11 works as a strategy.
I guess one more thing to look at when you're placing as 4th is that since no one has wheat right now, and there's not a lot of wheat, like if you take the 6 9 3, you point the 6 2, there's a very good chance first player ends up on the 6 2. Because they might not have, like if the 6 5 11 gets taken, 6 9 3 gets taken, maybe second player takes the 6 3 11, so they get wheat. If they get those 3 wheat spots being, I guess 4th player will have the 3 10 11 available, so they might go with that. But the 6 2 is definitely an option for one of these players being able to build to the 5 2. I guess looking at what's available, all the spots in the middle, I'd say it's unlikely.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I don't think yellow will pick it. Like, it would be the best combination for him, but he will, like, the 3 6 11 will be left open for him. So you'd kind of have to. I don't think it works really well with Vrej, his spot, because his ore is kind of low and he doesn't gain any sheep. So I think he needs a bit more production to get it into the wheat and the 3 for 1 port. And with Kaytwenty, I'm not sure. It could work, but I think there will be better spots left open than the 6 2. Like, for example, 10 3 11, 9 10, 9 10 11 potentially, or 8 3 4. So I expect the 6 2 to be left open.
Yep. Yeah, I think I agree with that. After looking at, those, I think someone might actually get the 9 4 11, being able to point to the 3 10 11, be able to get the build to that spot and get both of those spots. And I think that'll be pretty good for blue or gray there. The possibility to connect for longest road too. Getting a 3 for 1 port and then getting to build this solid spot in the middle. Pretty good combination.
Hawkeye, do you think there's any merit to picking the 6 9 2 on this board?
I don't. I think just because, like you said, building to the 6 2. So I think it makes sense just to take it at 6 9 3 and just to start with that, the road in hand. There's a lot of value. So yeah, I don't think I would, just because I'd rather start with the wood and get to the port quicker.
Yeah, do you know anything about Stocky Ranger's habits in terms of, does he like playing without ore? Does he really preference the ore with sheep?
Yeah, he definitely. I've played with him. He definitely likes Orwe Sheep a lot. He will. He definitely likes to buy a lot of dev cards. So I would expect him to try to get an ore somehow. So I might expect him to actually take the 9-10-2 and go towards the 5, since that seems to be the best option to get ore.
Yeah, something we haven't discussed yet is leaving open the 369. So, could that, like, what would that leave open for the other players? Like, if you leave open the 369, yellow is going to take that. No questions asked. Like, that's so good. But that would leave open the 3611, and that would work really well for Kaytwenty. And then you have the decision for Vrej to make, and that's more of a tough one. That could either go on the 4-9-11, 10-9-11, 8-4-3. And what I try to do in that case, like if you place on the 5-6-11 and 9-10-2, I don't think that's really strong, but it can happen. Like if you expect the 4-9-11 to be left open, you can point your road upwards on the 5-6-11 and with some luck get both settlement spots. However, it's really tough because you don't gain any wood from the start, so you will have to win 2 races if there are any, and you'd have to start getting some luck that nobody takes the 4-9-11 or the 10-9-11. Well, the 10-9-11 will be blocked by picking the 10-9-2. Like, it could happen, but in my opinion, 5-6-11, 3-6-9 is the best on this board. Is there also a merit to just placing on the 5-2, like combining 5-6-11, 5-2?
I don't think so. Just mainly because there's port. If there was like a port next to the 6-5-11, I think it'd make more sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Or yeah, if you're placing on like a 3-1 port with a 5-2, because when you have low production like that, I think it makes more sense. Like if you have a 3-1 port and then you're starting with 2 ore, like you need a quick city, and if you get city to 6 and then start buying dev cards and be able 3 for 1, I think it'd make more sense. So yeah, I don't think I'd place 5. I don't expect them to do that.
Yeah, me neither. Like your whole gameplay is basically hoping the 5 rolls a bunch and like buy a lot of dev cards, but I think you would get way too slow, especially if you have to compete with Red, who will also have the 5 ore and will have, well, probably a lot more wheat if you leave open either the 3-6-9 or the 5-6-11, because there's also some more wheat spots. So yeah, in my opinion, it's way like 5-6-11, 3-6-9 is difficult to win from, but it's doable. But leaving open one of these spots will give one of the other players such a strong setup that it's really difficult to play against such a player.
That's true. I guess the one good thing is that there's not really strong ore. Like it's not 8s or 6s. So blue and gray are both depending on the 10. So it should be easy to block because, obviously, in a good ore with cheap setup, you want to block either their ore or their wheat. And since they don't have a great ore, there's a pretty good chance that, when it's going to be unblocked some of the time, and that it won't be just rolling a ton when it's unblocked. Hopefully, unless you get. So I think the fact that it's just a 10 that blue and gray have, it makes it manageable so that they don't have like an unnecessarily unbeatable setup. Although they do both have 3-1 ports, so that definitely helps, and they'll be doubling on their wood brick, and we'll have be able to port wooden brick for ore if necessary. Definitely a lot of risk involved though, going on both 6s. Just because, yeah, I mean, obviously you're depending on one number, and if that number doesn't roll, you're not going to be doing a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true. Like number diversity is really important. However, 6 is not a number that in most games it will roll at least a couple of times, so it won't like.
Yeah, true.
It's not that risky to do 3, 6, 9, 5, 6, 11, I think. And especially because like earlier on in the game, maybe you can just rely on getting the first, like on the first wheat you get of the settlement spot, and like the 11 rolling ones or the 6 rolling ones. So that could be good enough. And like later on in the game, if the wheat starts rolling, then you actually can have like a lot of wheat to use for your port. So I'm not sure if it like in my mind it works quite well, the 3, 6, 9 and 5, 6, 11, but I might miss something that like yeah, it could definitely happen, like at the start not rolling, at the end not rolling much. Yeah, it will be really tough. However, I think whichever setup you're going to do is going to be really tough. Is there a merit to, I don't know if we have discussed this already, but like 8, 3, 4 and 3, 6, 9.
I think so then you're going with no ore at all. Yeah, I don't know that I really like that. Because you have the sheep port, but you're only on the floor does an ore or whatever you want it to be once you double up on it. It's also your only sheep number, so you want to use that for dev cards as well. You'd be rolling a ton, or you have a ton of extra sheep.
Yeah.
So I don't know like that quite as much. Well,
yeah, no, me neither.
You'd add a couple numbers. You'd have 8. Yeah, so then you're on 6, and then you'd have I guess wood to port over. But I guess the one good thing about that you'd have more road building potential, so you could potentially build all the way down to the 5-2. I'm gonna be kind of optimistic, and it'd probably be a while before that could happen, since you wouldn't be able to get a city in your wood or brick, and be able to get that much wood in your brick in your hand would take a while. So I think you'd eventually get to the 5-2, but it would probably take way.
Okay, I like the last one. I didn't have high hopes of you thinking it would be a good strategy. I think I have a way like to get rid of all problems, like the risk of not taking the spot and having more diversity in resources. Like if you combine the 5, 6, 11 with the 9, 4, 3. So, okay, we're going to see something else, but in that case you would have double up on 6s, and you would leave open the 6, 9, 2, so one of the other players is gonna go for that. But the 9, 4, 11 is most likely to be left open then. So then you could be able to build on this. But we see a totally different line by Starkey Ranger. Well, not totally different. 5, 4, 11 and 6, 9, 3. This time you leave open the 3, 6, 11 wheat. I kind of like this. Like you don't have the double up on the 6 wheat. You have, well, the 4 resources you need for the settlement, so probably a quick settlement on the 6-2, and maybe you can build on the 9 and 11 as well. Hawkeye, what do you think of this setup?
I do like. So I guess his thinking was he wants more wood rather than just relying on the 3 wood. I don't know that 9, 10, 11 will be there. Because obviously all 3 of these players need wheat now. So if they don't take the 6-2, there's going to be 2 spots on the bottom 6 wheat most likely.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at Gray possibly taking the 3, 10, 11 to get 2 wheat numbers. Maybe so. So yeah. Well, but now with this setup, I mean, Gray might end up with a 4-3. So I don't know, but it's possible that if 9, 10, 11 is there, and that's ends up being a really good spot. But there's a chance that it won't.
Yeah, so it really depends on whether or not the 9, 10, 11 will be left open if this is a strategy that can win. I'd say yellow is gonna go. Yeah, yellow's playing as blue, so that's a bit confusing. But yellow will take the 3-6-11 with the brick, I imagine. So the spots he leaves extra open. Actually, there are none, I think, if yellow takes the 3-6-11. However, if he doesn't do that, there will be a lot of spots created extra, and that could either be like really good because you have a lot of road building, or it could mean that someone like Vrej is gonna go for block your spot and then try to build on something else. And that's kind of risky. So really depends on what yellow does here, if this setup by Stocky Ranger is gonna go right. Outside of the 3-6-11, do you think there is another spot he could potentially build on?
I don't think so. I think it has to be 6 or 11.
Is there also a merit to getting on the 3-6-11 with only wheat, just to block out some other players from the 5-6, for example? Or from the 10-3-11, which gives a double wheat and which is quite unblockable?
I don't think so. I think I would just take the brick. You're gonna need it, and then there's still the 5-6 available. So you take the. I mean, actually, if you take the brick, there's basically only 2 spots on the 6 wheat. Or if you take the triple wheat, it opens up a 3rd spot, because then 6-11-12 is there and 6-5 is there. And 6-11-12 is actually not too bad for Kaytwenty, just since he has the wood port there, and he's gonna have the 8 wood with no port to go with it right now. So again, the 6-11-12 is actually pretty good for him. So I think taking the triple wheat actually opens up more on the 6 wheat. I think I would take the brick one for sure.
Yeah, I agree as well. And I was thinking the 3-6-11 would block the 5-6, but it doesn't. So, and on top of that, you don't want to block the 5-6 because yellow is, like, out of all the players, the player who is most likely to build on the 5-6. So if it doesn't get picked with the first 8 settlements. So yeah, I completely agree with you that the 3-6-11 with the brick should be the pick here for yellow. It's something that we see a lot in the Game of Catan playoffs and semifinals. I don't know how it does happen in the competitive Catan group, like these type of games, but players are really looking at every potential line of play. How like yellow is probably going over his own decision, Kaytwenty's decision, and Vrej's decision, and like also the decisions they will make on the first play. So that's why everyone takes a little while to make the perfect placements, and I think that's a lot of fun if it doesn't happen every single game.
Yeah, it's definitely important to think that they're thinking about, what they're giving other people. Not just taking the best setup for them, but making sure someone else a good setup as well, which I think is part of what Stocky Ranger is doing with his play, taking out that 6-5-11. Yep, and then he went like we expected there.
Yeah, and the road. And I like this road. Like, either the 834 is left open, then it's a huge setup. If that doesn't happen, you're still very likely to be able to build on the sheep board. And when you have the 11-4, you have the 4 sheep and the 5 sheep. So then the sheep board gets pretty good as well. So now we have Kaytwenty's pick. And for him it will be a little bit tougher than for yellow, I'd say. Because he has to decide, is the 10-3-11, for example, good enough? Does he want more brick? He probably does, because he doesn't gain any. So 9-10-11 could be the solution here. However, kind of low wheat to go with the highest ore on the board. Do you have a setup that would be really good for Kaytwenty here?
Yeah, I think what he'll end up doing is risking that there's enough good spots out there that Gray won't take a 3-10-11. I think he'll take the 9-10-2 and point to the 3-10-11. That kind of solves both problems. Is that he gets the brick that he's missing, and then he gets more wheat than just the 11. Is able to get on both the 3 and the 11.
Okay, so you would
Or
go.
if you went the opposite, if you went the opposite and started on 3 and started with all the wheat, and he wouldn't. I don't think he'd get the 9-10-2 since stocky Ranger actually has the row building potential, where Red wouldn't have any brick to get there. So I think I'd expect him to go 9-10-2, point towards the 3-10-11.
Wouldn't that be?
And
really...
I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't do that. Starting without wheat like that, kind of risky, but I think that's what I would probably do.
Yeah, it's not that I dislike the setup. Like, I really like if that works, and I think that's in theory like a really good setup to have if you win the race. However, if Vrej is gonna go A3-4, point his road upwards, then you're in a really must-win race against Vrej, who also has the wheat and has probably the potentially weaker setup. So he might get the advantage from trading with the other players more than Kaytwenty would get. So I'm not sure if that's really the setup you want to go with. Maybe you're in a spot that you want to risk it, but I think it's really risky to go for 9-10-2 racing against the A3-4.
Yeah, that is true, especially since you need the 8 to roll, since that's your wood. That gives Gray his brick as well. So, yeah, I mean, that gives you a disadvantage there, that you're relying on the same numbers, and he'll kind of have the head start with already having the 8 and just needing 8 to roll, not needing the 9. But Gray might also not want to race either, since I guess Red kind of needs to take a risk here. Gray doesn't necessarily need to take the risk since he has the 6-5, which is a pretty good spot. So I guess we'll see. First, we'll see what Red does. If he does do that, if Gray wants take that risk or not, and going for the 3-10-11. Because Red would, if Red did do that setup, he would absolutely need a 3-10-11. Gray wouldn't, because he could place on the 5-6, or he could place on 8-4-3, go for the brick port. So he'd have other options. But I guess I don't really see anything I love for Red here. 6-5, he's gonna have a ton of sheep, ton of wood with the 8-4-3. I mean, the sheep port would be pretty good for him, but there's no way he'd be able to get there without brick. Blue just needing a 9. You can't cut off stocky Ranger to the 6-2 because he's starting. So I guess I don't know. I don't really see any setup I like here for.
Maybe there's the potential to do.
That's the reason I'd risk.
Yeah. Okay. I see that reasoning. Maybe there's also another creative option by going on the A3-4 and already saying, okay, and I think Kaytwenty is the type of player to do this. I'll build on the A3-4 if you trade me the brick on the first round and ask that to Stocky or Vrej. I don't know why they would agree to it. It might be possible to get a trade with Stocky. Something.
Yeah.
Do something along the lines of, I'll give you the first ore I get, or something like that. So that could be really advantage for Stocky as well.
Yeah, and you're definitely right about Kaytwenty being the type of player who would do that. I doubt he's just sitting here just thinking. I'm totally expecting him to be negotiating things like that, which is interesting because those kind of things, in the rules of Catan are not binding. If they make a deal like that, it's not against the rules for either player to break the deal, but you do see that happen quite a bit in these competitive games. So I totally expect him to try that. But
do you mean?
I don't know that Stockade want to trade his brick away when he starts with the free road like that to get to the port.
Yeah, that's true. Do you mean the negotiating sees a lot of happens a lot, or do you mean the rule breaking happens a lot? The deal breaking.
The negotiating happens a lot.
Yeah, okay, I thought so.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of rule breaking, or breaking the deals, but happens most frequently on like robber when a sevens rolled. You see people negotiating to not get blocked, things like that. See it a lot less during placements, but it does happen. I think this is one scenario where it could happen with Kaytwenty kind of being a situation here.
Yeah, especially that's like when it gets desperate, you start negotiating. Like you pull up the tricks to get like to get a potentially winning strategy. Could you see Kaytwenty placing on a 5-6?
He could. I just think he'll have a lot of wood and a lot of sheep and no port. So I think that you can't see that working a whole lot, or he'll end up having, once he starts getting cities, he'll just have a ton of cards in his hand, and I guess could get lucky and not roll very many sevens. But I just think when you have that much sheep and that much, like when he has an 8 wood, you either need a port to go with that, or you need brick to go with it, or else that 8 wood is just kind of useless. So I don't see the 6-5 being that good of a spot for him, especially with no expansion spots off of there. I guess his goal, he would just expand to the ore port. If we get larger army and a couple VPs, so they wouldn't necessarily need an expansion spots from the 6-5. But I just see not having a port, that not being as good of a setup. Otherwise, if there's a 3-1 port next to A5-10, I think 6-5 would be a really good spot.
Yeah, like I could also see another type of negotiation play happening, like building on the 10-9-2 and porting your road upwards, like threatening to cut off Stocky Ranger to the 6 wheat and the 3-for-1 port, and like saying to either yellow and Stocky Ranger, hey, if I place here, if you give me this trade, I won't place here and try to cut you off here, and if you let me place here, then I won't place there, and you give me the trade so I can cut him off. I could totally see this happen. So do you think this?
Yeah.
I think this is the play he should go for.
Yeah, and if I'm Stocky Ranger, I don't know that I give into that, because it's pretty unlikely that he gets cut off to the 3-1 port.
If
Since
you get
Kaytwenty would need to roll an 8 in the first 2 rolls, or 7, I guess, could help him. And Stocky Ranger already has the road in hand, so as long as Kaytwenty doesn't roll an 8 or 7, then he wouldn't be able to cut him off.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, the other player trading the complementary resources for the road to cut him off. Like, if it's kind of far-fetched, but like if you place on the 6, 9, 10, yeah, that actually doesn't work because yellow doesn't have a wood. But if he had a wood, then try to negotiate, hey, can give me that trade so I can cut him off on the first turn, and like threatening, if I place on the 8-3-4, then Stocky Ranger gives me the trade so I can place on the 4-11. So that would be a disadvantage for both players, so you would kind of play them against each other out. I think it's very risky, but I think there is something in there, like starting the negotiation on, I'll build on the 8-3-4, if you trade me Stocky, otherwise I will try to cut you off by building on a 9-10-2. And then you still have the potential to have an 8 roll in the first 2 turns, or potentially trade it with Vrej, or steal it from Vrej by rolling a 7.
Yep, that is true. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So we're not listening to the. So we'll probably be able to tell when he plays if there's any deals in place based on what he does.
Yeah.
Since he won't have the resources in hand to make the cutoffs.
Yeah, true. So yeah, we will be able to see that in the first turn. Like, there's a lot of, like, that's what I can guarantee. There's a lot of negotiation going on right now, and if the negotiations doesn't fall through, I think, okay, he's either gonna go with the 9-10-11 or the 10-3-11. So we see Kaytwenty placing on the 9-10-11, which gives him brick and wheat. So I expect the negotiations to not have gone the way he wanted it. Or maybe he didn't see the line of play. That's also possible. Kind of far-fetched anyway, so that's totally possible. So now we have the 8 settlement pick, and it for Vrej between the 5-6 and the 8-3-4. Hawkeye, what do you think he should go for?
I think the 5-6. I think the 8-4-3 is just too risky to get the cut off the sheep port. I don't think it's worth it either. You're looking at 10 points of production versus 9 points of production. So I think I'd rather just take the 9 points with the better wheat. And then there should be excess wood to trade for. All 3 players have higher wood production than brick. So if your 4's not rolling, hopefully blue or red will have wood to trade just to get you on the port. So you essentially just need 2 wood to get on a 3-1 port. And then actually the wheat port's pretty good for him too. But I would expect him to take the 6-5 here over the 8-4-3. I guess the problem is the 8-4-3 is a really good expansion for blue, especially with having the 3-1 port.
Yeah, so blue is like laughing his ass off, like he's either getting the 5-6 or getting the 8-3-4. So that's like pretty good.
Yeah, which I think I'd rather have blue get the 5-6, just because he's already on both those numbers. He doesn't add any numbers. He's just doubling up on them, which he would do with cities anyway. The 8-4-3 adds that 8, which I think would be extremely valuable, especially with having a 3-1 port.
Yeah, like an upside of now Vrej placing on the 8-3-4 is that he has coordinated wood and brick. So let's see if any negotiations went down. Okay, so Vrej was taking the hope the 9 doesn't roll, and let's hope the 8 does roll, and I'll be able to cut off yellow to the sheep port. So he didn't get any trade like deal to get the brick from another player. Like he could have done that with Kaytwenty or with Starkey Ranger, so he would be able to cut him off. Like maybe a 2-for-1 including wheat would have actually been enough to trade with Kaytwenty here. So maybe that line of play didn't happen, but let's see. Who do you think has the strongest setup right now?
I would say definitely blue does. I think orange obviously doesn't have ore. Gray only having the 3. Gray and red have really low wheat, and then blue is he's got good ore and sheep as well. Even if he gets cut off his sheep port, he has a 3-1 port, and he has a 6-5. So I think blue definitely has the strong setup. And he just rolled a 7, so you'd expect him to probably block the 8 brick here to...
No, the 11 rolled before this, so he already has the row. Oh no, wait, you're correct. He needs the wood.
He needs the wood, yeah. So then blocking the brick prevents Gray from rolling 8 and getting there. And stealing a wood would have given it to him.
Yeah, that would have ended the discussion.
We're looking at this from Gray's perspective, so we can see that he's
trying to get wheat. Oh, interesting. Instead of wood. Maybe he will try for wood later on, but first, like, you won't be able to trick these players. Like, you won't be able to say, hey, I tried to get wheat. No, everyone knows you're trying to cut off Vrej right here. So, no cut off happening, so the race is still active. And Starkey Ranger rolls a 12.
I didn't see what it rolled, but he might have known there's no wood out there, so he could have been trying to force one wheat, I guess, if he got a wheat roll already, since he started with 2. That's probably what he's trying to do.
I know Stocky has the wood from placing on the 3, 6, 9,
that's
but
true. Yeah.
he also wants to
I guess
use it.
probably knew. Yeah, probably knew he wasn't gonna trade it.
Yeah. Okay, so we see the road and a 10 roll, so we see ore in the game, the crucial ore, and also double sheep gain for Kaytwenty. This will be a crucial number for him, as well as the 11. So he's kind of dependent on 2 very weak numbers if he doesn't get his negotiations right. So Vrej is trying.
So he's offering ore for brick. I
Yeah.
totally expect Kaytwenty to try to take the ore and wheat from him for the brick.
Yeah,
I think he's the only one. He's the only one with brick right now. So I'd be surprised if Kaytwenty accepts it for just an ore, knowing that he has a second card in his hand he can get rid of.
And we'll see. Yeah, exactly. So let's see if he does this. Like, this is such a strong move by Kaytwenty to try to get the wheat as well. Like getting a 2-for-1 for the brick, which is kind of useless to him. Well, he can use it, but it's not as valuable as the wheat. And especially getting a 2-for-1 here would be huge. Would it be a good deal for Vrej right here?
Which a counter negotiation for Vrej would be the Seaport's a lot better for blue. So I mean, if you let blue get it, that's makes him a lot stronger. So Gray could just say, "All right, you can take an ore, or I'll just pass my turn," and just hopefully convince Kaytwenty that you'd rather have Gray get there than blue.
Ooh, that's smart.
I think I'd rather, as a player in this game, I'd rather have Gray get. I mean, Gray getting the Seaport isn't that great. I mean, he's probably trying to do it to prevent blue from getting it, because he'd only have the 4, where blue would have the 5 and the 4, I guess. So I think I'd rather have Gray get the Seaport.
Yeah, so this was probably the last chance for Vrej to win this race, because now the 9 roll giving yellow the wood, and he already had the brick in hand, so he's gonna be able to win the race even if the 7 rolls. So yeah, that race is settled. Let's see what Kaytwenty can do here. He has 7 cards in hand. He picked up another brick. It's not that big of an influence, because he can't 4-for-1 that yet. I wonder how much wood Kaytwenty has.
I don't think 8 is rolled, because we can see Gray's hand, and we know he started with a wood and hasn't picked one up. So I don't think there's been any 8s.
Like earlier on in the game, there was the decision for Kaytwenty to pick between the 8-5-10 and the 9-5-10, giving both the same types of resources. And my reasoning there was to go for the 9-5-10 because you can get the 3-for-1 port. Do you think the 2-for-1 ports now limit Kaytwenty in his potential strategy?
Yeah, I think definitely. I agree with you there. Yeah, because that's what I was kind of saying, is like that 8 wood. Without a port to go with it, it's not going to be that useful. So yeah, I agree with you. I think 9-5-10 is a lot better. Gives him 3-for-1 port. And as we see, a 6-5 ended up being open too, which was a possibility. So you'd have that to expand. So yeah, the 9-5-10 with the 9-10-11 is actually a pretty good setup, with having the coordinated 9, getting both wood and brick on 9. So yeah, I agree. I think 9 would be a lot better for him than the 8-5-10. When you have that big a production with, I think the 3-1 port's just a lot more.
Yeah. I also noticed I kind of jinxed the 7 roll by yellow, so that means he has to hand in 4 cards and put the robber on someone. Like, at this stage of the game, how do you go on placing the robber?
I think if there's someone that's like definitely the strongest threat, you want to go after them. Otherwise, you might want to stop someone from making him move. Like if red was close to a city, which I don't think he is, he might want to stop. But since orange seems close to building a settlement, I think it's that good to stop them from. You want to stop players from like making moves. I think if someone's close to a city, that's the biggest thing you want. But I don't think anyone is close to a city. So you could be thinking about. It looks like he might have just been thinking wanting to block two players. The only spot he could do that pretty much.
Yeah, I think
I didn't see who he stole from there.
He stole from Kaytwenty. I think his reasoning for that was like the first two reasons didn't check, so I agree with you. So now he was just trying to get the resource to be able to build the settlement, and I think he needed wood for that. So maybe he figured Kaytwenty had a wood, and he went for it. So let's see if this deal goes down. He's obviously targeting Stocky and trying to get the wheat. So he's closer to the city. I think that's the reasoning here.
Yeah, so I think if losing that cup, I think I'd definitely be trying to get like an early city maybe on the ore.
Yeah, it could be right because you're only on the free wheat, so that's, and you need to make plays, especially now you got cut off and don't have that much production.
Yep, so he does have the extra wood in hand where he can build a road, and then as soon as he gets the brick for the 8, he'll get wood as well. So I think trading wood just makes sense if you can get either wheat or ore for it. I'm trying to trade 2 wood.
Oh wow. I don't think I would give up 2 wood or 1 wheat.
If you build because I think you want to build a road here, because that limits your hand and lets you able to save for the city still.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the risk with saving for a city is that you have a lot of cards in your hand, but if he's able to build that road, it knocks him down to 4 cards, and he's not really at risk for getting over 8 cards unless 8 hits like a few times.
Yeah. And that's a risk you gotta take for sure. So, like, yeah, I think just building road here towards the 3-for-1 port is fine. Like, you don't really need the wheat port anyways. Maybe you want to prevent yellow from getting there, but it won't be his first concern anyways. And your 4 settlement could potentially be the 8-3. Like, just, you already have the port, just get more production. However, you probably try to get a city before that. Because Vrej really needs more production to win this game. So a 9 roll, the brick one was blocked and the wood one gives yellow the wood. And Kaytwenty is trying to offer sheep. And I think a move, like, you don't want to give away what resources you want, because that tells way more about your hand than if you say, hey, I have this 1 card. Like, you give away information on 1 of the 9 cards, well, probably on 2, because it also says he has another sheep, because otherwise he wouldn't be trading the sheep. But if you say, hey, I want an ore, it probably tells, hey, he probably has 2 ore and 2 wheat in hand.
Yep, that is true, 100%. Yeah, I see Delighted do that a lot. He doesn't, like, if you ask for an ore, like, you know he's getting one for a city, so he doesn't do that. He just kind of says, does anyone want whatever his extra cards are? Like, does anyone want wood? Does anyone want sheep? Does anyone want brick? And then if someone says, I can give you an ore, he'll say, oh yeah, I guess I'll take that, and then you get a city out of it. So yeah, definitely hides your intentions more when you're.
I think this is kind of a... I'm not sure what Stocky Ranger has in his hand. I think it's kind of a weird deal, because he... Well, maybe he likes the brick, because the 9 is blocked, but you would expect Stocky Ranger to have the wood and brick in his hand already.
Yeah.
But maybe we're mistaken on that. Like he might definitely lack the brick because it was blocked for quite a long time. And giving this wheat is kind of risky to Kaytwenty because that's one resource he lacks in his resource gain. And if he gets a quick city on the 5-8-10 and having the 2-for-1 ore port, that can become really scary really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know that. Yeah, especially giving him 2 wheat, I think is just really strong. I mean that's like a major weakness for him is only being on 11 wheat. And then we saw that he already had one because the 11-year-old. So now he gets 2 more. Now, yeah, he's really close to that city. Just to pay on 11 wheat makes the cities really hard, but now it should be a lot easier for him. Maybe just needing 1-5 to roll.
Yeah, I expect so. Like, I've seen the 5 roll earlier on in the game at least once, so I expect he has 1 ore in his hand. I actually expected when the trade went down, when he got the double wheat, that he would have 2 ore and 4 sheep in his hand. So that would mean 4-for-1 trade for ore at city. I don't think that would have been a good deal though, but I could see that happen. I think this is better. Just now get the ore port and be close to the next city, and that's something I can work on for sure. Like Kaytwenty already made a trade, so that he is closer to his next objective. And that's not what I like. I mostly only make trades to get my first objective, and then but Kaytwenty is already thinking ahead. Hey, how can I get this trade to be more advantageous for me later on in the game? And I think that's really solid because now if he gets the quick city, I don't know if he has 1 or 2 wheat in his hand right now. Maybe he had to use one of them. But that's just really great. So we see the 5 roll actually. So there is the potential city by Kaytwenty, and there's the sheep for yellow and Stocky Ranger playing as yellow. And let's see if he's able to build a settlement. I expect so. He got the wood and the brick. He traded 2 wheat away, which probably indicates he has a wheat already in his hand. And now he picked up the sheep. So let's see if he can make a deal out of this, just like Kaytwenty did, like by trading spare resources for resources he wants, like ore. I don't think the trade will go down with Vrej because he makes very clear that his next objective is going to be the city, keeping the ore.
Yeah, unless it's possible. Stocky had wood and brick already, and is maybe trying to build to the 5-2. I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, that would be very interesting if that happens, because that would, like, if he gets the settlement on the 5-2, then he gains all 5 resources pretty well, and that would make him potentially the strongest player in the game. But instead we see the 10 roll, definitely. And that's huge for all the other players.
Yeah.
So Vrej needs an 8 and a 3. Okay, what did you want to say?
So yeah, you talked about the negotiation. So we saw Stocky offer the 2 wheat for 2 wood trade on Vrej's turn, and then when Vrej re-offered, Stocky didn't take it. That might have been Kaytwenty seeing that opportunity for 2 wheat and then trying to negotiate on Vrej's turn and saying, well, I'll give you a wooden brick instead of if you'd rather have 2 wood. And that's why Stocky ended up turning it down and then doing that deal on Kaytwenty's turn.
Ah, okay.
Because we saw Stocky offer that initially, and then when Vrej tried to do both deals, when he went back to Stocky, he didn't end up getting that 2 wood for 2 wheat trade. So that could have been Kaytwenty saying, I'll give you 1 brick. You might be missing brick for settlement. Your brick's blocked. And that's why Kaytwenty ended up getting that deal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we potentially see a trade between Vrej and yellow here. So Vrej offered the wood, and he got the offer by yellow to get the wheat. I think this trade will go down. Like if both players, if yellow needs wood for the settlement, and Vrej obviously needs the wheat to get closer to the city, I think we'll see this trade. Okay, he's re-offering, so maybe someone else said, okay, I'll take this deal if you don't trade it with yellow. Let's see what happens. So that could be potentially with Stocky Ranger, who also gains a lot of weed. Doesn't like the wood really, but he might want to prevent yellow from doing this. It's interesting to see that yellow actually declines the trade right now.
Yeah. I guess he just may be worried about giving Vrej a city, and he's still got a couple rolls to get a wood roll if he doesn't have one already.
So what could be the reason? Like if we know that yellow doesn't accept the second trade, maybe it just went down like this, that Vrej offered to trade and yellow said he wanted to do it, but then he thinks like, okay, I probably don't want Vrej to build a city really quickly, so I shouldn't do this deal, and that's why he declined it in the voice chat and now declined it on the screen as well. That could for me be potentially a reason.
Yeah, I think people are definitely hesitant on giving trades to give away cities. That's why I'm surprised Kaytwenty got the 2 wheat in a trade.
Yeah, like we'll see a city next turn by Kaytwenty most likely. I don't know if he has the second wheat. Like either he could have.
I think he does because 11 rolled right before his turn.
So
he used that wheat to build a settlement and then got 2 more in a trade. So he definitely has enough.
Okay, so we do see the trade. So that probably means that. Well, I don't know what it means. But he got the trade. That
kind of surprises me that Stocky Rangers is bricks block, so I'm kind of surprised he's trading for wood. So yeah, I guess he's trying to get wood brick to get down that 5-2. But yeah, I wouldn't think there's an immediate need to trade for wood with being on 2 wood numbers and your brick being blocked.
Yeah.
Maybe he had brick in hand already, but.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see an immediate reason either. Maybe he's trying to win a race against yellow to the 5-6. I don't know, but I don't see it as a huge priority. I would prefer building on a 5-2 than on a 5-6.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's see what Kaytwenty is gonna do. He lost. Well, yellow lost 4 cards. He loses 5 cards. He still has the city in hand most likely. So let's see what he's going to do.
If not, he probably knows that Vrej has got that ore in his hand. So he definitely has 2 wheat, 2 ore. So if he's missing an ore, he can probably try to steal one from Vrej. Might try to steal one anyway, just because he knows if he knows Vrej is close to a city. It's smart to break it up, especially if he's got a really good city spot like that on the.
Sure, for sure.
So I'd expect him to block the. I would think Kaytwenty doesn't have a city in his hand, because if he did, he would just drop the other 5 cards and not think about it. So that tells me he maybe doesn't have a city.
I guess that makes sense, yeah. And like there's a reason to not block Vrej in this spot, and that is by considering Stocky Ranger as your opponent to build on a 5-2. like considering you're in a race.
True. Yeah, because well, I guess so. He's got two potential settlement spots. He's got the 5-2 and the brick port, and I guess I mean, he could maybe worry about Vrej building down to the brick port, maybe block the 8 brick too. That could be a concern.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty clear that Stocky Raider is going for the 5-2 right now.
And maybe we're
based
just
on training for the split brick.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe we're even way too focused on Kaytwenty getting a city here. Like, it seems pretty obvious to do that, but maybe getting development cards, like 2 development cards, is maybe even stronger in the spot. Nobody has bought development cards yet, and he might be considered the leader right now. What are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't, just because he's only on the 11 brick, or the 11 wheat. I mean that's pretty rare. Okay, that's interesting. So he knows blue was probably a wood short from a settlement.
Yeah, so they still consider yellow with his potentially really strong setup to be in the lead right now. Or if not Kaytwenty, then it's him. Okay. I didn't see this one coming. Maybe we see the classic Kaytwenty move. Hey, Vrej, I'm not going to rob you if you make this deal with me.
Yeah, I think that had to be the case, because I think he would have gone after him otherwise. He's in a really strong setup with having that through one pull already, getting close to a city. So I think that must have been the case.
Yeah, that also.
Yeah, in terms of city versus development cards, I think when you're early on the level, like the low wheat like that, I think you need to get the city down when you have the chance. Because now, I mean, he doesn't have a good port. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to port ore unless it rolls a bunch. But he has a chance to 4-for-1 sheep or wood. I do like sitting like an 8 wood like that, 8 wood or brick, if you don't have the other road building resource, just because 2 of them lets you 4-for-1 it, and it's kind of like having a port when you have a city like that. So that kind of gives him an alternative to get wheat, is if he rolls 2 8s, he can 4-for-1 wood for wheat. So I definitely like the city there over 2 dev cards with being on the low wheat.
Okay, I can see that, and I agree with your reasoning that like Kaytwenty probably didn't have the third ore, so that's why this is a huge move for Kaytwenty, and he would have had the, I think, 60% chance to steal the ore from Vrej. So do you think this is the right move to do by Vrej, by getting someone else blocked instead of yourself?
I think so. Just because I think in those situations, like, you don't want to automatically just give in to like the extortion, but consider like how good it is for you, and the fact that he's not blocked and he gets like a valuable card. He gets that wheat, which is rare for him. So now a 10 gives him a city, or an 8 gives him with it being able to 3-for-1. Actually, it doesn't, because he only gets 1 wood on the 8, but getting the wheat's valuable for him. So I think because of that, the trade makes sense. But you don't want to give in if the trade like doesn't help you at all. And you don't want to just. Kaytwenty is really good at that. When the 7 rolls, he likes to, offer these deals to people if he doesn't rob them. So you don't want to necessarily give into that unless it's like a good deal for you. And I think it was a good enough deal for Gray to justify. You don't get robbed. Your 8 gets left open, like we saw. So then he was just able to pick up on it, and then he got the rare wheat too. So I think it made sense for both of them.
Yeah, and it was 60% chance that Kaytwenty would have gotten the ore anyways. So that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you take that into account. Like if Vrej had a bunch of extra wood in his hand, you could say, "Go ahead, steal from me. Like, I don't care if I lose a wood. You might not even get the ore." But he had 3 ore and a wheat in his hand. That's all cards that he doesn't want to lose. So I think it makes sense to get a trade out of it.
And now the block by Stocky Ranger is like very obvious to block the 5 ore with the ore board and the strong like 3 ore gain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also considering his game plan, like hoping the 10 doesn't roll too often and keeping the 5 pinned, then he might be able to catch up with the others by getting cities and playing the longest road game.
Yep. So yeah, we definitely thought blue the strongest setup at the beginning. Been kind of unlucky with being able to get a settlement. So he's kind of falling behind. He did hit the 7 early with 8 cards in his hand. That's always devastating, like early in the game when you're not producing that much. To get hit with a 7 like that, lose half your hand. So I think that definitely hurt blue quite a bit because he's definitely falling behind now.
I don't think blue is out of the game, but if we see a lot more of these trades, then he will have a really tough time catching up. Like, if he is the one getting some trades, then he can catch back up with the others, I'd say. But if he is not involved in it, then he's not getting anywhere. So might not have the weed, or well, the weed. He might not have the ore to trade here, or might not want to do it. Only just on 3 cards, so right, like he lost 4 cards out of the 7 and then got robbed by Kaytwenty. So let's see what Vrej is gonna do here. Is he going to build 1 or 2 roads? I expect to get 2 roads here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Because you don't want to leave yourself at 6 cards. That's kind of risky. With 4 rolls to go, and like it's not bad to get 2 roads. Like it leaves you open to getting robbed. But with no development cards in the game right now, that's a risk I would be willing to take.
Yeah, and he might be taking into account that with that city, Kaytwenty is kind of like a definite target right now. So you might just count on Kaytwenty getting stolen from.
Yeah. So the 10, so that gives the city.
That gives him the city, yep.
And
also good for Kaytwenty. Good for everyone except for Stocky Ranger, I guess.
Yeah. So Kaytwenty got a bunch of sheep immediately offering a 1 sheep. So maybe yellow is desperate for sheep. I don't know exactly what he has in his hand and what resource he lacks. Got the ore. He might be looking to trade that to someone. Potentially he can trade the ore to Stocky and get the resource. He passes up on the turn. That's really interesting. I think that's a mistake. I think I would prefer to trade the ore to Stocky for the resource you need to build a settlement here, being yellow, being blue.
Yeah, unless he was he might have been 2 resources is a possibility. But I don't mind holding cards when you're on like that much of an imbalance of wheat and ore. That ore is kind of rare, but he's on 2 wheat numbers, so I think it kind of makes sense to hold ore and maybe hope for that shake. Might be his only chance to catch up here.
Yeah, makes sense. So clutch roll by Vrej. He'll be able to build the settlement. Or he will be able to build the city. I assume he's gonna go with the city here, but he's first trying to offer an ore. Maybe Stocky Ranger is gonna go with this deal because he doesn't gain that much ore.
Yeah, he might be. I think he's trying to get a settlement in a city if he's could get wheat out of it.
Yeah, so he's obviously not going to deal with Kaytwenty being on 10 cards and being in the lead.
Yeah, the wood doesn't really help him either. You can see.
So that would give the settlement and the city if he deals with Stocky Ranger, the 2-for-1.
I would expect him to do that. I would think.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good deal for both parties. But then it's not necessarily a disadvantage for Kaytwenty, because then Vrej might become the new leader instead of him, and the 5 ore might not be blocked as much.
That is true. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he cities here if he's able to get the settlement also. Maybe he cities 843 just to get some more wood, since he's got already be getting 3 brick on an 8. Might want to get a couple wood too.
That makes
Because
sense.
traditionally you'd want to city your ore, but he might go the other way. We'll see here. Yep, does city the 843.
And also you get the weed, so that's,
I think
also rare.
With the rare 3, I mean, it's big to be able to pull up 2 wheat every time the 3 rolls, since it's not going to be that frequent.
Okay, I like it. My first thought would still go on the 10-8-4, but this prevents you from being blocked a lot more, or at least prevents a lot of resource gain to be lost. And like the reasons you mentioned, having the balance in your resource gain, and also the leaving the doubling up on the wheat and also doubling up on the sheep is quite good here. So
yeah,
Kaytwenty,
I'd expect the 10 to be blocked a lot, maybe by Kaytwenty, just because that's the only ore for 2 players, especially if Vrej is. But I don't know that anyone would ever block the 3 wheat. So that's actually a pretty good city spot. And yep, pays off already with the 3.
Okay, really expensive development card gain by Kaytwenty, doing double 4 for 1 to get the ore and the weed, and he's trying to get the knight to be able to block Vrej and keep the 5 unblocked, which might stay quite a while. Okay, so yellow's getting a development card. I think now with Vrej and Kaytwenty being so far ahead, I don't think yellow has any chance of catching up anymore, unless he gets double monopoly.
I think I would. I guess he did have 6 cards in his hand. Yeah, I think I'd definitely want to go for a Settlement City over the development card at this point. Especially because development cards. I mean, Kaytwenty is getting one because he's going to start getting blocked and he wants to protect himself. But I don't know that blue's really going to be the target here. So if he gets a knight, it's not really as valuable. It might just kind of sit in his hand.
Okay, so Stocky Ranger is trying to offer a wheat, trying to get the sheep, and the sheep would probably get him development card, or maybe 3-for-1 trade for ore, or maybe double roads plus settlement on the 5-2.
Well, yeah, at the trade, so we will see very short. He's definitely got enough cards for 2 roads and so.
Yeah, and he also has the 3-for-1 board, so that could mean, okay, he's gonna cut off yellow. Oh wow. I did not see that happen. If he would have gone for 5-2, then Kaytwenty would not have traded him. So maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, and he might be worried about. That pretty much takes blue out of running for longest road at all. I mean, obviously Gray's gonna have a lot of potential for that with these 8s, but maybe Orange is thinking his only chance to win is longest road, and that takes one of the competitors out of it for longest road. Yeah, I guess that'd be the reason to do that.
We could now see some development cards by Vrej. Do you think that this is a moment to go for that?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, that's what it looks like he's gonna do. Because I think it's gonna be starting to be kind of a war between him and Kaytwenty on the Opera going back and forth. So I think it makes sense to invest in those.
Yeah. a lot of force, so Vrej must be very happy with that. And we now see the 7 roll, so now it's really interesting. Okay, so both players are going to be blocked. Vrej is the only one with the knight. The 8 is not that important to him, to be honest. He already has the wood and still has the 3 and the 4. I think I would leave it up and not use the knight right here.
I think so. Because yeah, Kaytwenty is blocked too. So yeah, and the wood's really not that important for him. I mean, I guess the counter argument be if the 8 rolls. I mean, that's like a huge turn for him if he can get the 8 to roll. That's 2 roads and a settlement, or he'll be able to get to that, or the doubling up on the ore.
Yeah, I think in Vred's position, I really like getting development cards right now, and he has the potential to do it with a 3-for-1 trade. And the reason for that is nobody has really invested much in getting the largest army, and also because you don't expect many players to get really a lot of development cards. If one can do it, it's probably yellow, and you're, well, kind of currently potentially tied with him, depending on what development card yellow has. Okay, I did not see that one coming. And another reason for that is that Starkey Ranger has a really good chance of getting the longest road with the potentially connectable settlements and a lot of wood brick.
Yeah, I definitely also surprised by that move. I think, yeah, like you said, it makes sense to leave it there. Or if you are going to move it, I think you block Kaytwenty's ore. Because he seems to be the competition for development cards, already played a knight. And that 5 hitting allows him to basically it's basically an ore and a wheat for him, since he has that ore port. Or I mean, 2 5s hitting is, massive for him. And then there we see the 5. So now Kaytwenty is likely able to get a development card. So yeah, I think if you do move it, I think it has to be on that 5. Because Kaytwenty, is going to be buying development cards and is going to be blocking Vrej. So yeah, I definitely disagree with that block.
Yeah, a way of the sequence happening could be that Vrej wants, like, maybe Starkey Ranger has an ore, and he's saying, hey, Starkey, I want to get that ore, I want to make a trade, I can give you this, and if you don't take it, I will use my knight and rob you and block you on the 6 wheat.
Yeah, and I would definitely expect Starkey Ranger to disagree to that trade, since ore is very rare for him. He's probably saving for a city. So yeah, I wouldn't expect him to trade an ore to avoid being blocked. So yeah, if that negotiation did go down, I would expect Starkey Ranger to not give into it and just accept getting blocked.
Okay, I think we definitely saw a similar sequence here pulled by yellows, like, hey, Kaytwenty, I need this ore, otherwise I'm going to block your 5 ore, and if you give me this trade, then I'll block Vrej.
Yeah, actually, I mean, that's actually interesting, because, I mean, Blue's he wasn't even blocked there, so it's kind of interesting that he chose to play a knight. I guess the concern there, I mean, Gray has the advantage right now to get largest army, and he's definitely the favorite to get longest road with all that wood brick. So I guess the concern there is that he ends up with largest army and longest road. So they wanted to, I guess, prevent that early. Yeah, because I don't know that using a knight makes sense, especially now. I mean, once Vrej gets a city on that 10 ore, I mean, that 10 might get blocked a lot, and that knight might be useful for blue later on. So kind of interesting that he used the knight there when he wasn't blocked.
Yeah, so both Vrej and yellow are using their knights actively instead of defensively. And we were, like, in my opinion, especially in Fred's position, I would have kept the knight. And what I think I hear from you is that you would have kept the knight in both positions.
Yeah, I definitely see the argument for playing the knight for Vrej, but if I did, I would have definitely blocked the 5 instead of stocky Rangers wheat. So now, yeah, we'll likely see Kaytwenty get development card in his turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see it. We'll see if Vrej does the same thing. So he'll likely play it again since it's his only Brex. We'll see if he goes after stocky Ranger again or if, ends up blocking Kaytwenty. So what do you think about so stocky Ranger build a couple roads? Do you think that makes sense to connect this early on, or would you have gone for the 5-2?
That's really interesting. Like, you could see someone like Vrej trying to cut him off. However, I don't think it would happen. One that Vrej only has 1 card right now, so he wouldn't do it right now. Maybe later on. However, is that really that difficult to overcome? Like, if you get on the 5-2, you're much more likely to get settlements and maybe take longest road without connecting. So I don't think the downside of not connecting is big enough to not try to take the 5-2. So yeah, I would have preferred this. However, I'm quite sure that Kaytwenty did all he could to make sure this play would happen instead of stocky Ranger going all in for the 5-2.
Yeah, and also maybe since Vrej, seems to be more dangerous in general with having Ore, a city already. I mean, the other players might want stocky Ranger to have longest road.
Yeah.
Also taking is 1-8 for Vrej to build right through there and basically secure him longest road pretty much. Unless Kaytwenty could pull a road building or something. But so yeah, I could see the other players, maybe trying to encourage him to keep Vrej from building through there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does have a lot of cards in his hand, so he has the potential to, he might have another road or two in hand, so he could get towards the 5-2 as well. So in that case, it might make ports for sheep. That's kind of interesting. He is on the 5. He is on doubled up on the 5. So it's kind of interesting. He ported for sheep and not
the Ore. Yeah. So I think that means his next goal is getting on a 5-2. So that makes it like, I don't like the sequencing by stocky Ranger here, because like, if you say, like, I think it's fine to connect right here, like, that can be a big advantage if you expect someone else to cut you off. I don't know what players are saying in the voice chat, obviously, so that could be a good move. However, if your next goal is trying to build on the 5-2, then I would have tried to port for Ore and get the city before you get the 5 settlements down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when he's if 1-5 rolls, he gets 2 sheep. Sheep's not rare for him. Shouldn't be hard to trade for. So yeah, I don't initially agree with porting for sheep. I think when you're that low in Ore, if you're gonna port, you're always gonna want to port for Ore.
Yeah. So we see the knight play by Vrej most likely. I think this is the right move because he has his 8 Ore blocked. I think there are no development cards. Okay. So the block is going to be on stocky.
Block.
And he gets the sheep and the 8 roll. So huge turn for Vrej right here.
So yeah, I guess maybe that was a good move for stocky to connect because
yeah,
Vrej would be able to go.
So I could see how the table talk went down. Like, stocky, you should connect right now, because if the 8 rolls, like, he's going to use the knight. If the 8 rolls, then he's going to cut you off. So yeah, that's some great foreshadow. And I think it's really funny that he got exactly the sheep where we already mentioned, and now the 5 sheep is blocked. So maybe looking back, it was the right move by Stocky if you expect to get blocked with your next settlement. Does that mean that Vrej is...
Are you surprised that Stocky is like been the last 2 nights here from Vrej and not Kaytwenty?
Yeah, definitely. I would have definitely blocked Kaytwenty in the spot.
Yeah, because knowing, like, my philosophy is, like, usually whoever wins either has largest army or longest road.
Yeah.
So when you're competing for army like Vrej is, I think your first priority has to be to make sure you get army. So to do that would be, block that 5 ore from Kaytwenty. And then once you know you have army, like once you have a significant lead, you have 3 or then maybe you start going after the player with longest road. They're probably most capable of getting the 10 points first.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that definitely, since he's been going for army, I think the priority should have been to go after Kaytwenty first until he had army locked up. Because if he had blocked that 5, I mean, Kaytwenty might not be able to buy a development card here, and Vrej would have a significant advantage for army. So I think that would have been a more priority for me before going after Stocky Ranger.
Yeah, for me as well. I agree with your reasoning. Maybe Vrej is thinking, I have a better chance at taking longest road than maintaining army over the course of the game because of my low wheat and low ore.
So I guess in that case, I would maybe block the 9 brick. Stocky's only brick.
Yep.
Or block, the 6 wheat that he's able to more likely, and that helps him get a city because, city's gonna be huge for Stocky on the 693. She's gonna need a city in general, and then that gives him more brick. I mean, he only has a 9 brick right now.
Okay, so this guarantees the largest army by Vrej, but this indicates that he wants to go for army. So, like, why else would you trade in 3 roads for ore and wheat? So, I think this is not planning out the way Vrej wanted for sure. But I also think the move should have been get the army player first, like what you said,
Yep.
like what you pointed out. I think that would have been the correct move, and that's also why I would have been a little bit more hesitant with my development cards.
So that was actually an interesting decision there on his turn. So he had 3 roads in hand and a sheep. So he has the option 2 roads or 3 roads even, or to buy the development card. Like usually you don't. I think you don't want to port 3 roads in, but I think since the fact that he gets them so easily on the 8th, it makes sense to port them in. Since wheat and ore are both pretty.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. Okay, so let's talk about the other players here. Stocky Ranger is looking to have an interesting move for sure. He has 14 cards in his hand, and maybe he's able to build on the 5-2, or maybe he's able to get a city. We know for sure the 6 is rolled, so he has a lot of wheat in hand. I'm not sure about how many ore he has. We can safely assume he doesn't have any sheep, so the remainder of his cards can either be wheat, wood, and brick. And let's assume he has, for example, 5 wheat in his hand. I'm not sure what the number was before this. I think this is also a 6, looking at how the things lines up. And that would mean 3 wheat given ore, exactly as we see. So that would mean at least 3 wheat and 1 ore in his hand. If that is the case, like, we know the 8 rolled, so that doesn't give him any cards. So let's see if he can do more 3-for-1s to get the remaining ore and get the city on either the 5-for-11 or the 3-6-9. I don't expect it because he didn't, like, otherwise he would have done it already.
Yeah, that's true.
But with 12 cards in hand, he can maybe still... Oh, wow, he already has the city on the 5-6.
That is very surprising for me.
Indeed. For me as well.
Yeah, I think I'd do the 6-9. I mean, it's gonna be hard with Road with Vrej, I think, just because he gets Road so easy. So yeah, I think I would have did the 6-9-3 for sure.
Okay, let's see if I'm quite sure now Stocky Ranger has the city that the block is going to be on him, and I would point my attention on, well, potentially the 9 break, but Kaytwenty just picked up a development card, so that can be a reason to not do that. You could also, and this is maybe a bit far-fetched, block the 2 ore. I don't really like that. You could also block the other 6.
Maybe, yeah, I don't think I would block the 2. Maybe if he gets like 2 or 3 ore on it, but yeah, I think 1, it's not worth it.
Yeah, just block the...
So maybe what Stocky's thinking is that since his 6 wheat was getting, I mean, maybe he just wanted to diversify. We're getting 2 wheat from each 6 to make sure he's always bringing in wheat. I guess that might be the reasoning. Still probably not what I would do, but
yeah, I think the like, even if the 6 wheat is blocked, like the top 6 wheat, if you build a city on there, you still gain so much cards from the 9 and the 3 that doesn't really justify building a city on a 5-6, especially now it makes the 5 wheat the biggest target. A reasoning that could be applied here is that yellow is gonna get more development cards, and that's exactly what he wants, because he wants yellow to make it difficult for Vrej getting largest army. I think that's a bit far-fetched. I think I would have gone with 3-6-9 here.
Yeah, especially he's gonna need at least 1 more settlement, maybe 2, depending on if he gets the city or VPs or whatnot. But I mean, knowing he's gonna need 2 roads for his next settlement, I mean, it just seems like it's gonna be so hard to do with only getting 1 brick on a 9. If you're just able to 1-9 gives you 2 brick, and then 2 wood on a 3. I mean, it just makes 2 roads and a settlement a lot easier, which is going to be his next move, I would think.
Okay, let's see.
But I guess it's also possible. I mean, maybe he wants to go for art and wants to get more wheat and sheep and do that. I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah. So I like Vrej not blocking Kaytwenty here, and maybe he made the correct move by saying, "Hey, I'm gonna beat Kaytwenty to army anyways, even if I don't block him," which seems to be like the case. However, I'm not convinced that it is definitive, because like Kaytwenty still has a shot at getting army with the development card in hand, and the army like 1 knight already activated and 8 cards in hand, and the 5 just rolled. So that's for sure not a closed case.
Yeah, one thing we haven't really talked about is, even though Vrej he's got really good production now, he's bringing in a lot of cards. We've seen him pull in a bunch of cards, which has allowed him to do things. But he's basically just dependent on a few numbers. Like, he gets 6 cards on an 8, he gets 3 cards on a. I mean, both his wheat and ore. So I mean, it's not a given that he can just keep buying development. So yeah, I think it's very easy for Kaytwenty to catch up, getting 4 knights even before Vrej does. I think that it'll be interesting late in the game. Now that city and he's getting all these cards, is that depending on a few numbers, yeah, even a 3, he gets 3 cards on a 3 now. He's on. So either he's gonna be getting like no no card, or he'll be getting a lot of cards, and then it has the potential to, hit 7, lose half of them, and keep getting robbed. So, I think that'll be interesting in the late in the game. See how that plays out. If he ends up not getting any cards, if his number's not rolling, or if he ends up getting too many cards, and then it kind of depends on if a 7 rolls or not. Might end up determining if he wins or loses.
Yeah, that could very well be the case here. I really wonder where the discussion is going on right now. Like Kaytwenty says, okay, I have to stop Vrej. Like that's he will try to position himself as the player who needs to take army before Vrej does, because he could potentially take road and army, and that would be game, most likely. And so let's see what he's trying to come up with. He's trying to get ore. So he already has 3 ore in hand, so that would mean he wants to support them in, or maybe get city and development card. Do you think that's an option for Kaytwenty right here? Did the 11 roll enough?
Yeah, or if he has a knight already, he doesn't need to use it. He might be trying to get that second city down. Because he might not have any wheat at all. So if he has a knight, he might just be trying to get a city. He might prioritize city over getting a development card. Otherwise, I'd probably just be buying development cards to try to catch up to army if he doesn't have a knight already. So he's looking for wheat.
Yeah, let's see if anybody is willing to give it to him. I think being yellow right now, you have to recognize, okay, I'm not going to win this anymore. I'm not going to influence the outcome of the game as much, because, well, there's no single way I'm going to win this.
Yeah, true.
We see the 8th roll, so Vrej is pretty happy with that. So bringing him closer to the longest road. We'll see what Starkey Ranger is going to do right here. He has 4 cards in hand, has a development card. He hasn't rolled yet, so he is considering using the knight right here. Or maybe considering using a knight.
Yeah, because of the glitch on Catan Universe, we can tell it's not a VP, since we see maybe not everyone's aware of that, but since we see the 3 dots instead of the dice icon under Stocky Ranger's name, it means he has a development card he can play.
Oh, okay.
That's not a VP.
I didn't even know about the glitch, so that's helpful.
So it'll be interesting to see if Vrej plays the knight before his turn, since he's got 7 cards. Stealing a card would put him at 8.
Yeah,
which would risk him losing his hand on a 7. So yeah, and he's got brick already, so I don't expect him to play a knight. But we'll see if he does.
Okay, so the 9 rolls. So there's brick for Starkey, and there's and for Kaytwenty, and wood for yellow. And now we are going to see the knight and blocking the 8 brick. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So what should he do with those roads he has in hand? Do you think he should try to build on he doesn't have the options right now unless he gets a sheep? If he would, I think he wants to build double up on the 10 ore.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think 5 did roll, so Stocky, half his hand is wheat right now. So he has a good chance of getting that from him. Yeah, I like building on the 10 ore just because that's a great spot to
he got
build.
it.
I mean, just to get the sheep. And I think that gives him the best potential for a longest road as well, because I think you have to consider that with Stocky having 7 roads already.
Mm-hmm.
Is it if he loops around the 8 and then keeps building down towards the 9 wood, he's able to. I think that maximizes his longest road potential.
Yeah, so 2 roads would put him at 8 roads, so Starkey Ranger has to build a road this turn. And we see the 12 roll, no cards. So it's up to Kaytwenty. Kaytwenty will try to get the largest army back, but he also needs to build a city. Kaytwenty has to do a lot this turn. He has 2 development cards. See if he wants to use it. His goal was probably roll first and then use my knight to steal the card Vrej gets. But the advantage of not having a great number diversity is that sometimes you don't get cards the moment you don't want to get them. So maybe he's gonna go for the robber on the 10 or maybe the somewhere he can block Stocky.
So you see he's offering up a wooden brick there, so he's trying to help Stocky extend his road, or maybe get a blue to cut off Vrej there on the 9.
Yeah, or maybe he's trying to like do you called it extortion if I'm not mistaken. That he says, hey, if you can do this trade, I'm not going to block you, but I'm going to rob from you, like, or I'm just going to block Vrej.
Yeah, so I was wondering about if Vrej should build a road there or not, since he does have the possibility of getting cut off. But I'm guessing one of the reasons he did is now that Kaytwenty is not able to steal from him if he ends up playing a knight, because he'd obviously be the target here. Probably the because now Kaytwenty might not want to block the 8 brick since he steal a card from him, so that could have been the reason for putting the road down.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess if I put the road down, I might have did it on the 8 brick to connect, just so in case blue cuts you off, you have the alternative going the other way, back towards the 6. I mean, I don't know that blue will cut him off. It doesn't really do him much good, I guess.
It could.
The
He could do it.
Really good spot to build on, but yeah, it's a possibility other players could trade him cards to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's really justifiable if you're like in yellow's position. There's no way he's going to win. Can you justify doing moves like that, making it more difficult for Vrej, so the other players have a bigger chance of winning? Okay, this is the move I expected. I don't think yellow should really interfere with the game right here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So we saw Kaytwenty gave a road to Stocky, so Stocky will at least spell to extend his road. Mm-hmm. But they just rolled, so now 2 roads already for Vrej.
Yeah, so Stocky needs to get 1 road in for sure, and probably I think very likely he needs to get a 2nd in as well, and I'm not sure if he's able to do that. Okay, let's see.
No, yeah, only 4 cards right now. Like a 6 rolling or something. Yeah, I don't think so.
7.
Well,
this works.
I'll be able to steal a wood or brick now from Vrej. Might be able to get 2 roads.
Yeah, if he gets a wood, 40% chance, and blocks the brick. Or maybe he wants to even block the 8 wood right here. I'm not sure how many roads Stocky Ranger has in hand right now. If he has to, he shouldn't be too worried about either blocking either resource. Like, both are fine. But if he only has 1 road, I'd say block the 8 wood instead of the brick, in the hopes you get the wood. Vrej keeps the double wood, so he will be able to extend his road to 8. Let's see what Stocky Ranger is going to pull right here. Maybe he can make another trade with Kaytwenty. I'm not sure what cards he has in his hand.
So I think there's no possible role to give Vrej a development card here. So I think if Kaytwenty either has 2 knights or he has 1 and is able to buy 1 a turn, he'll be able to take army from Vrej. So Vrej will end up actually losing army here. Which might have been, like we pointed out earlier, might have been better to block Kaytwenty earlier to keep him from buying knights, because it looks like he probably will lose army here unless Kaytwenty doesn't have knights. But if they're both knights, or if he has, because he'll be able to play a knight on this turn, So as long as he has another one in his hand, Vrej won't be able to buy a fourth before Kaytwenty plays it. So I think he's going to end up likely losing army here.
Yeah, so Vrej needs a 3 to roll, otherwise he very likely to lose the game, because if the 3 rolls he gets the wood and he gets the double wheat, which he can use for the wheat board, and then build 3 roads instead of 2.
Yeah, I guess typically you wouldn't, think of using a wheat port ever but yeah, I guess this is a case where it would work. He does not roll a 3, so
okay, so
Kaytwenty gets a lot of ore, so I think Vrej is going to end up losing army here.
Yeah, so Vrej
I think it makes sense to build
that Kaytwenty doesn't have
I think
a knight in his hand right now.
So yeah, I think the roads there make sense.
Yeah.
Just to avoid getting cut off by blue, just in case.
I agree. Like, we could see a really interesting dynamic change, like the player losing army, getting road. I don't see that happen that often.
Yeah, I think it will happen though. It seems like, because I don't know, let's Hawkeye will keep up with having citied up the 6-5 instead of 6-9-3. I think Vrej just needs 1-8 every 8. He's able to build a couple roads. But yeah, I think Kaytwenty. I mean, he's gonna end up having to move the robber off that 8 though, so he'll end up. Then an 8 gives him 3 roads basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's got to be able to buy. He's got tons of cards. He's got to be able to buy a couple development cards here, and as long as he has 2 knights in hand, he'll be able to take army.
Yeah. Okay. So he gets 1 with a 4-for-1 trade, so that indicates that. Well, I don't know what it indicates. It indicates he didn't have any wheat in his hand, so it indicates that it will be very difficult and very costly to get a second development card, if that's possible at all. And we'll have a look if he even has the knight right now. Like, in both cases, either him not having a knight or him having a knight, he would try to get the development card here, so.
Yeah, so if he doesn't have 2 knights, he might be thinking about stealing from either of the other 2 players to try to get, wheat or sheep or whatever he needs. Not sure. He might be trying to talk them into trading him to buy knight. He might say, "I don't have a knight. I need to get a knight, or we're gonna lose here." So yeah, because there's definitely some hesitation there. He's not doing anything right away. Okay, he does play a knight.
Yeah.
Might just be thinking where to block.
Or he has a monopoly and he was considering using it.
Yeah, I think that's possible. Yeah, I think if he has another knight in his hand, I think he 100% has to play a knight here to be able to take army next turn.
I find this to be interesting that he blocks the 8 wood, while Vrej has 2 wood in hand and he has only 1 brick number.
Yeah. So yeah, he definitely had to move it. I mean, he could have blocked like the 10 or maybe to prevent Vrej from buying more development cards. I guess my thinking is maybe Kaytwenty has like 5 knights, and is pretty confident Vrej won't take army. But I guess in that case, I mean, Vrej can still win. I mean, if he's not gonna get army, he's gonna need a city or 2. So I think blocking the 10 would have made sense.
Yeah, either the 10 or the 8 brick, I think, because like
he had to move it. He had to move it off the 8 brick.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I think I might have blocked the 10 or.
Yeah, agreed. Like,
because once he takes road, which he probably will eventually, that puts him at 8 points. He has another settlement he can build. Has a settlement spot already. Puts him at 9. And that's his 5th settlement. So he's either going to need to pull a VP or need a city. So yeah, I think I would have blocked the ore for sure there, or the wheat even. I think the wheat, just because the wheat can be used for, even though it's a bad number, it can be used for the settlement or the city or pulling a VP. So I think, yeah, either the wheat or Oro would have blocked.
Sure. Okay, so new reality. Yellow is trying to make plays. He rolled a 7, so we're very likely to see the 8 brick be blocked again. Let's see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I still think Vrej is the biggest threat here because, I mean, he'll get back to 8 points once he takes longest road. Stocky will likely lose road. I mean, that'll take him out of the game pretty much. He's not going to be able to get it back. So then, I mean, we don't know what Kaytwenty's development cards are. If he has a couple VPs, he could be at 8 points. I guess until we know what those development cards are, I think you gotta keep blocking Vrej.
Yeah, for sure. So we see a 9 roll, which is crucial for Stocky Ranger. He might be able to build a settlement right now on a 5-2, as long as he has the longest road, and it's very likely he will stick with it for another turn, because Vrej doesn't have any cards in hand and his 8 brick is blocked. So Vrej is not going to win on this turn. And Kaytwenty is going to take army, so that will put Vrej out of the lead, I think, because he'll be at 6 points. He has potential for both still, but I think it's very likely that he will be able to take Kaytwenty's army. So
that, yeah, that 8 brick block just saved the game pretty much.
Yeah.
If you block something else, would have been over. But yeah, I think the 8 brick was the obvious block.
So 7. So Yellow is gonna lose some cards again.
So Kaytwenty, the problem was he was gonna have to play a knight this turn to take army, which means he's gonna have to move it off the 8 brick. But now that he rolled a 7, he'll be able to block something and then move it right back to the 8 brick.
Yeah.
Which looks like he's doing.
And also smart move. Oh wow, he's gonna go for Saki. I like it. I like it.
That's definitely surprising, I think. I wouldn't expect Saki to hold long this road at all.
I think Stocky is in a more threatening position to Kaytwenty right now than Vrej is. Like, I think this gives away that Kaytwenty has at least another knight in his hand. And if he does, then that means he has a commanding lead on Vrej in terms of getting that. Like, if he... That means that Stocky Ranger, if he builds the settlement on a 5-2, is a bigger threat to him than Vrej is, I'd say. And what you pointed out earlier, like, if the 8 doesn't roll, there's no way Vrej is gonna get longest road.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, at the same time, I think, like, as long as all it takes is like 1-8 pretty much, and Vrej probably permanently takes longest road, and then that knocked 5 points. So I wouldn't see, unless Stocky had like a window where he could win pretty quickly, which I don't see since he still needs 3. I think Vrej is definitely going to take long before Stocky can win.
Okay. So Vrej is still gonna go with the game plan, try to get both. So he will raise with longest road, with Stocky Ranger for the longest road, and he will raise with Kaytwenty for the largest army. Risky. Do you think this is the line Vrej has to take to win?
I think at this, he probably needs to give up on army. He might have been just trying to get like a VP, an easy point. And a knight still, if he's able to unblock his 8. Yeah, I'm still surprised they're kind of going after Stocky Ranger. But yeah, I'd agree that indicates Kaytwenty probably has another knight in his hand and is confident that he'll be able to hold on to army.
So let's assume Kaytwenty has a knight and a victory point in his hand. He would be at 7 points and has a commanding lead in the race to largest army, or largest army. What are his next steps? He will try to get a settlement on the brick board, and he will try to get a city on the 9th and 11th. Either a second city could win him a gain, or gaining a victory point from the deck.
Yeah, definitely. So he got 8 cards in his hand.
Yeah, the question for
Probably
me is Kaytwenty the new leader? Oh wow. I think he was trying to get a trade here, but okay, he really wanted a wheat probably. Yeah, okay. So that's why he used the knight. Seven. Who's the block going to be on? Say Kaytwenty. After he now gets the city, he is kind of close to. If he has the victory point, he's kind of close to winning the game. Yeah, I agree with this move. Like,
definitely.
If the 5 rolls, it can go so quickly. Like either the city can go really fast, or really the settlement can go really fast with trading in 2 for 1.
Yeah, but then once he gets to the brick port, I mean, his next city will be easier. Or, I mean, even 2 roads and settlement with cities on his wood brick now.
8. So Vrej can still take road really easily. Building 2 roads would put him on 10. Thing is that
that's why I was very surprised that Stocky was the target there by Kaytwenty, because it seemed like Vrej was going to definitely take longest road eventually. So you just have to evaluate, is Stocky going to win before that? And I don't, with only 7 points. I mean, I don't see him getting like 3 points before he loses road to Vrej. But unless he was like trying to get that wheat to get a city, which might have been the case. Otherwise, I think Vrej is like the long term threat.
I think an argument can be made that like Stocky Ranger has connected his roads, and he has the maximum road length of 15 because of all the space available at the bottom of the map. Vrej already has a road built on his A34 city, so his maximum road length is 14. Kinda, you don't see it happen very often, but I think this is a game that could potentially go to 15 roads.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I like to see Stocky Ranger build a city on the 693, just to knowing that he's gonna have to keep building roads like this to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna be hard, just getting 1 brick at a time from the 9, especially. I mean, the other good brick number, that is the guy he's competing with road with, so he's not gonna be trading in brick. I mean, if there was another 8 brick out there, you could get people to trade you brick to extend your roads. But I mean, obviously Vrej isn't going to trade him.
Yeah.
So it's definitely surprising.
Yeah, true. So the 4 rolled. So Vrej has the 3 roads he needs to take longest road. And Kaytwenty, well, let's see what he is able to do. Maybe he's able to build a settlement. Unlikely to have any ore left in his hand, so it's very unlikely we'll see a 2 for 1 trade with the bank. He didn't gain any cards this turn, so let's see what he is able to do. Do you have any idea of what card he could potentially have in hand? Probably 2 wood, because the 8 has rolled, otherwise Vrej wouldn't have this many wood and brick.
Yeah, which the wood he won't be able to do much with, or pour. Didn't have a knight, obviously. I did not pay attention to the glitch to see if he had a VP or not. So I'm not sure what his development card is. I guess likely a VP.
Okay, so 7 rolls, so this is a huge bummer for Vrej. he could really use all the resources he wants, he needs to.
Yeah.
Okay, I like this. I think by keeping the sheep, he maximizes the chance of him getting development cards, and he expects if the 8 rolls, I'm going to take Longest Road eventually because Stocky Ranger doesn't gain that much wood brick. I think I like that. Yes. Okay, so the 6 roll. So
maybe thrown away. Yeah, I guess I don't. Not sure why he needs 2 sheep, but yeah. But he might have recognized Kaytwenty doesn't have a knight and maybe sees opportunity to take army back. I don't think that'd be likely.
Okay, we'll see.
So
I think the 8 will roll
sheep,
a couple more times, so that gives Vrej the window to take Longest Road eventually. Stocky Ranger getting his settlement on the 5-2, which is huge for him. Now he gains a little bit more ore if it rolls, and that means that he might be able to build a city on the 369 or something else a little bit faster, and that can help him gain 10 victory points. But he has a difficult time maintaining Longest Road. Okay, so we see another road placed by Stocky Ranger here. I like the placement. I don't like building on the 5. I don't think Kaytwenty wants to prevent you from gaining maximum road length or whatever. And like now already spending that road towards the settlement spot you're eventually going to build on. I think that's right. So the 8 rolled, just a turn after Vrej wanted it to happen. So let's see what's going
to... That's what I was thinking, is if he had thrown away sheep and kept the wood, since he only gets 2 wood on the 8 and 4 brick, I mean, that would give him 4 roads right now if he had thrown away sheep. I mean,
yeah.
He basically is going to need 1 settlement and then a city in Longest Road. So I think it makes sense to just only hold on to 1 sheep that you need for your settlement and then hope to take road and get a city. So I think, yeah, that's why I would have probably thrown away one of the sheep on that last turn. You still have 1 for the settlement left, and then you'd have, as soon as the 8 rolls, you'd have more wood to catch up to your 4 brick or 3 brick you're pulling in.
Yeah, also breaking settlement by Kaytwenty. So have you paid attention to what, like, assuming he wants to unblock his 10 sheep, that he doesn't have a knight? So I think I'm going to assume he does have a victory point in his hand right now, and Vrej has to hand in his roads again.
I mean, yeah, his 5 ore was blocked last time, which he definitely would have unblocked with a knight, so it's definitely not mad. I forgot to pay attention to the glitch to see if it's a VP or not. I will try to do that this time. And yeah, like I pointed out earlier, that's the risk of being on doubled up on all these numbers like Vrej is if he does get a lot of cards, he's either going to get no cards or he's going to get a lot of cards and be at risk from rolling a 7. And now it's 2 roll orbits in a row where he's hit a 7 and basically lost like at least 5 or 6 roads total from that, from the 7s.
Yeah, so I'd say the game is now between Kaytwenty and Stocky Ranger. Stocky Ranger still has to hand in a couple of cards. Or am I mistaken on that? Robber is moved by Stocky Ranger. Oh no, he had 7 cards and he stole from Kaytwenty already. Okay.
So yeah, I think he definitely build a road if he can, because he's gonna need a settlement. Okay, buys a dev card. So if that ends up being a VP, then his path to winning a lot easier now.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see if Vrej ends up maybe using his knight, moving the robber back on 5 or not.
Yeah, so maybe Vrej knows whether or not Kaytwenty has a victory point. So I'd say block Kaytwenty in this case.
Yeah, I guess since we don't know for sure, I guess the 9 brick makes sense now that Kaytwenty has the brick port. Keep Stocky Ranger from building roads, and also is able to block Kaytwenty. who might have 9 points.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, he would have the opportunity if he wants to.
He can also do block them somewhere, rob them, and then use the knight to get it back. And get it back on 5-4.
Yeah, I think.
Like, if Vrej wants to win, I think he needs a development card right now. Like, if the plan is still army and longest road. And that would give him the most time if his plan is that. Because if he can stop, well, Stocky Ranger first, for example, then he only needs to worry about Kaytwenty with the development cards. And if he stops Kaytwenty first, then he only needs to worry about Stocky Ranger.
Yeah, I think just the fact that even if he doesn't get a knight, I mean, whatever he gets is useful. If he gets a VP, it means he just needs a settlement and road.
Yeah.
Or if he gets, obviously, no monopolies have been played. So if he gets monopoly, that'd be pretty big and would probably win. So yeah, depends on what he's able to steal, though. I guess he's able to steal one card from both of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kaytwenty only has one card in his hand, so you want to steal from both. Kind of getting a nail biter here. I'd say Kaytwenty is in the lead, but there are still ways to stop him from winning.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, if Stocky Ranger got lucky and pulled a VP.
Yeah, and
that would definitely get him a lot closer because then he still has one settlement left to build. He's got some pretty good production with a 3-1 port.
Also, this would be really unfortunate. Stocky Ranger on the kick timer. Okay, he's back, so that's really good. We probably not going to see the knight by Vrej, and that would surprise me a lot. Yeah, okay, interesting. I disagree with this, but maybe he wants to not, like, maybe this means, okay, he's not going for largest army, he's just going to go for road, trying to get a settlement and a victory point or whatever.
Yeah, and also by not playing knight, I mean, it makes them maybe worry that he is a victory point and that he might potentially be a threat to win the game. Whereas if he plays a knight, I mean, I think he's less of a threat too. But I guess if he did play the knight, I mean, the robber would have had to move off the 5-4 right now. So I guess it worked out.
Yeah. And it's so good for Kaytwenty if Vrej and Stocky Ranger start spamming these roads, because they would be spending their resources on something he doesn't worry about, and that would cost them a lot of cards, while he can focus on getting the city down. I haven't paid attention to Kaytwenty's potential victory point. It's not a knight for sure, but I'm not sure what it is. I'm still assuming it's a victory point, so Stocky Ranger needs to hurry.
I don't think so.
Did you, by accident, see what development card Stocky Ranger can potentially have?
I did not. So I can't. Did he roll already? I can't see the dice. Did he roll? Did he roll a roll?
He rolled a 4. Rolled a 4.
Okay. So he does. Yeah. So he doesn't have a knight. So that's definitely. I didn't see if it was a VP or not, but obviously not a.
Yeah, he would need the ore. If he has a knight, he would need the ore to be unblocked. However, he maybe also wants Kaytwenty to stay blocked, so maybe.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because he has other ways of getting ore with 3-1 ports. So yeah, very possible that he has a knight and just didn't want to move it.
Also, shout out to
you want thinking here for only 6 cards. So
yeah. Also, shout out to Vrej for making the board look be as viewable as possible for us and for the live stream. It's in the details sometimes. Okay. So they're definitely negotiating right now. Where could this be about?
I guess it's possible. Stocky Ranger's debating if he wants to port for a road, maybe. Knowing Vrej has the ability to take away that settlement spot if he builds on the. So maybe Stocky doesn't want to commit a road right now, knowing that Vrej can cut him off or take that. Might be part of his thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He might have wood or brick, and then possibly three wheat or 3 sheep to convert. I haven't been paying attention to the rolls, but might be debating if he wants to port for a road or not. Might be his debate, or if he wants to port for a dev card, maybe.
Yeah. Another thing is that, well, maybe they've paid attention to Vrej, like victory point glitch. The other players could assume that, like, we know Vrej has a knight, but they don't necessarily know that. That could be something like a monopoly or something else. So in that case, he is still dangerous, especially now he didn't use the knight last turn to get the robber back on 5 ore, which it ultimately did because yellow put it there. But do you think something can influence the decisions the players are going to make?
Yeah, I think this late in the game, when there's been a lot of knights played, you have to like worry that the mono's out there. So in that case, like, you don't want to be stuck with a lot of cards in your hand. Especially with Vrej having that wheat port, like if Stocky, a bunch of wheat considering porting. You don't want another 6 to roll and have Vrej mono like 8 wheat. Like, that would just be massive for him with having the wheat port.
Yeah.
So you want to consider, porting and making your hand smaller if you know that mono's out there. Which he might be. I'm guessing he either has a development card. Okay, he did. Okay, yeah, he was just deciding where to build his road, and so the downside there is that he doesn't have a settlement he can build on that spot. He needs one more road, but I guess he was worried about Vrej being able to cut him off or take away that settlement spot. So I think it makes sense building the road in that direction.
Yeah, I agree. And if, like, Vrej now kind of confirms he doesn't have a monopoly, otherwise he would have used it here. Kaytwenty didn't gain any cards in the past orbit, so nothing's going to change here. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I once again forgot to check if
yeah, okay, we'll focus on Stocky right now. Like,
so yellow does not have a VP. I did see that.
Okay.
Might have. So if he does have a mono, he could mono wheat, make a big move maybe.
Yeah. So
I guess he's also on the 6 wheat, so he's collecting wheat as well.
Yeah. So we know there are at least.
Pay attention to Stocky though. See what Stocky's development card is.
Yeah, we'll try to have a look. Like, we know there are at least 10 knights played, and we know there is a knight in the hand of Vrej, so there are 3 left in the deck at most. Yellow could potentially have one, I don't think so, but he could. And we'll get more information about Stocky's development card next turn. I don't think he has the knight because
there's a lot of VP. Seems like there's a lot of VPs out there. So it might just be whoever pulls the VPs ends up winning.
Yeah. Have a look. So settlement by yellow, not influential. Okay, he can roll the dice.
So Stocky has a VP. Oh, okay. He might have been able to win without the 7 there. It looks like he did have a VP.
Yeah.
So I think with 15 cards, he would have been able to win.
he would still have 8 left, so maybe road settlement for the game.
Possibly. Not sure how much brick he has with. I don't know that he has 2 brick in his hand. He might be able to pull a VP for the win too. Go for that, knowing. I mean, there's still 2 monos that haven't been played. So I mean, he could end up buying a mono.
Like, yellow was able to build a settlement, so that indicates he had wood. And I think if he has wood, then Stocky Ranger also has brick. But maybe not. Maybe he doesn't have 2. Then he would need to have exact 3 for 1 to be able to do road settlement if he lacks brick. If he lacks 2 cards, then it's impossible.
He does get to steal. Does get a card here. I would imagine he would steal from Kaytwenty.
Yeah. Oh right. Yeah. That's Do we know what card Kaytwenty has? Quite a while he has it.
He's had 1 card for like a very long time.
Yeah, I
have no idea what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll find out. Like the block is likely to be on Kaytwenty, so we'll have a look. City is also a possibility, and we know, like, you said yellow didn't have a victory point, right?
Yeah, which realistically in a real game of Catan you wouldn't know that. So I don't know how aware they are of it or not.
I think they are aware of it. So
okay.
That means there
in that
are...
case, yeah. I mean, if I'm aware of it, I think I'd be pulling for a VP if I was Stocky, probably.
Yeah, if I don't have the win right now, I'd do that for sure. So there are 3 victory points left in the deck. There are 3 knights left in the deck, really depending on what yellow and Kaytwenty have. So there might even be 4 victory points in the deck, but I think Kaytwenty has a victory point.
Yeah, so probably, I mean, at least 1 mono, maybe 2 monos in the deck too.
Yeah.
I mean, that basically gives you the win, I would think, too, just if you pull that.
Yeah, and also Year of Plenty probably does it next turn.
Yep, true. So I think there's too many opportunities to get something good out of the deck by pulling for 1.
Sure. However, okay, we see the Rob on Kaytwenty. Something else that might be important here is if the 8 rolls, Vrej is able to get his road and take longest road from Stocky. So I would have blocked the 8 wood here instead of the 11.
I guess he was thinking that okay, maybe he knew he was gonna be able to build a road. So he didn't pull a second VP, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, Vrej won't be able to take.
I guess his thinking on the 11 was Kaytwenty had 2 rolls to win. If he rolled a 5 and 11, he can win. This way, he's not able to win on his turn unless he rolls 2 5s and he can pull a VP. But he won't be able to win with a city on his turn or a settlement.
Yeah, Vrej could use his knight here. Okay, we're going to see something else. Wheat and ore for Year of Plenty, not what he was looking for. So now we're going to see the knight. I would have used the knight here first because he could steal the sheep from... Oh, I'm mistaken. He got the wood. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so if he had gotten the wood, no, that wouldn't give him the opportunity to build 2 roads. I think this is better as well. Yeah, okay. So the free roll, good for Vrej, doesn't give Kaytwenty anything. And Stocky Ranger pulled up a wood. So really depending on this roll or if something is going to happen, I don't think so. We're going to see either a knight or...
Stocky builds 1 road. So Stocky just needs 1 road to lock road because, like you pointed out, Vrej is capped at 14. So if Stocky's able to get to 4, that would make it impossible for Vrej to get road.
Yeah.
So it's actually a pretty big block on the 9 because okay, so he didn't play. Ooh, that's
this might be
big
game.
for Kaytwenty.
You can either have Monopoly, a Knight, or the Year of Plenty, the second Year of Plenty.
He has 3 sheep, an ore, and a wood, and
if he has a Knight, he can have a guaranteed ore with K20. If he has a Monopoly, we shouldn't really have to worry about anything. And if he has a Year of Plenty, he can build a settlement. He was considering using the Knight before the roll. If he has a Knight, I'm going to assume he has a Knight here, because if he had one of the others,
I think he's one card. I think he's 1 card short on the Year Plenty. He's got 3, an ore and a wood in his hand. Yeah.
Yes, only ore and wood.
Oh no! I forgot. He's got the road down 11-12. So yeah, Year Plenty, he would just win.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I forgot he had the road down. I thought he did road settlement. So yeah, he definitely not Year.
And if he had 4 sheep, he could have 3 for 1. So.
Yeah, he's trying to think if there's enough.
It's not a Year of Plenty, that's for sure. Like any.
Yeah.
So even if we're yeah, okay. So Year of Plenty wins in the game right now with the settlement or a city, if whatever. Like Monopoly wins him the game for sure. You can get 3 ore. I think that's maybe that's not enough.
Yeah, I think he might be trying. I think he would have played a Knight probably. He might be trying to think to mono for a settlement, like if he monos like sheep or ore, because he might be, because he's missing brick and wheat right now. So he basically needs to get 4 more sheep or 5. So he might be short, because if he mono sheep, he get 2 from and 1 from Vrej.
Yeah.
I guess almost blue.
If he monos ore, he doesn't have, like, he can get a victory of a development card either way if he has Monopoly. And with that, a very good chance of taking the victory point.
Which he might be debating if it's worth it to use a mono just to try to pull a VP. He might be debating if he wants to do that or just save it for next turn and try to win with it. But he has the risk of Kaytwenty being able to win now with rolling that on his turn.
What if he does Monopoly on the ore by Kaytwenty, making it very, very difficult for Kaytwenty to win, and like using the free ore or the free sheep, whatever, to build 1 more road, making it impossible for Vrej to take the longest road.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that idea. So he's got an ore already, so if he monoed ore, he'd have 4. He'd still have an ore left over. Yeah, give him the chance to maybe pull for ADP next turn and get a settlement. Yeah, I think that'd be reasonable. He might be trying to figure out how much sheep's out there, because it's close. If he can just get 4 sheep, he'd have enough to
yeah. Do we we know yellow has 2 sheep, but what are his remaining 2 cards?
Yeah, exactly. So if one of them is a sheep, then he would have that would be enough, because he knows Kaytwenty doesn't have sheep. Maybe he isn't sure if Vrej has sheep or not. So I think that's what he has to be debating here with those 5 cards. I guess he could be debating.
So how did Vrej get the wheat? By rolling a 3. So I'm going to assume that yellow also has a wheat. If he takes 3 wheat, no, that doesn't do it. Maybe he just has the Knight. So But maybe then the decision would have been a lot easier if he had the knight.
Yeah, I think he would have probably played a knight.
Okay.
Oh,
so
he does have a knight. Okay.
the knight.
He just.
Oh wow.
Oh, so I think he was just trying to pull the wheat. Okay, so obviously Blue's not a threat to win, so I think what he was thinking was he was going to try to pull the wheat, to try to get that VP for the win.
Yeah,
Block
needs to be on the 11 wheat here. If it rolls, Kaytwenty wins, or maybe you just get a robber card of him.
Well, actually, if you block the 5, you steal from Kaytwenty. It would prevent him from winning. Also.
Yeah, that works. You kind of need to build like a good amount of roads being Vrej right now, and you're unable to do it with the resources at hand. Like if you build 3, you will be like you'll take the extra road, so you'll be at 12, 13. So that won't cut it. Like you need the 14 road.
Right now.
Like you could be able to do that with using your plenty for double break, stealing a wood, and using the 2-for-1 port with wheat to get the remaining brick. But that wouldn't cut it, so this option is really out of the window.
Yeah, I think I don't think I'd use your plenty for. I think if he was. Well, what he could do is because he knows he gets an ore from Kaytwenty, he could steal from Kaytwenty and use their plenty for a city on that 8-4-10, and then an 8 gives him 4 roads basically.
Yeah, I like
that might be what I would do.
Yeah, I like that.
Because you get an ore, then like your city or a VP.
Yeah, but how risky is not stealing from Stocky Ranger?
Oh yeah, that's right. So Stocky still has the wood. He still has a wood in his hand, and just needs one more road, the walk road from Vrej.
Yeah, what like
if he's able to pull the.
Here's what I would do. I would drop Stocky, hope to get a wood, do a 3-for-1 for ore, use Year of Plenty, build city, and hope the 11 doesn't roll and Kaytwenty doesn't win. Okay, he's gonna go for. Oh, he's gonna go for. Oh, I like this. Like trying to get the victory point yourself. You know there are still a lot left. Okay, and the settlement be at 8. Oh, I would okay, that. Oh, yeah, I agree with this. I think. Well, it doesn't really matter. It won't be cut off anyways. Okay, so the 8 roll. So Stocky really needs to get a road down, and he currently doesn't have the resources available. Kaytwenty has 3 ore and 2 wood, if I'm not mistaken. No, 2 ore, 3 wood.
I still haven't paid attention to if he's VP or not, but yeah, he can't do anything unless he has a mono.
Yeah, if he had a mono, we would have seen it already. If he had a knight, we would have seen it already. Exactly the same for road building.
Yeah, I think it's definitely there's a big block on the 9 there. Kept Stocky from getting the brick.
Oh wow. Now Stocky doesn't have the resources unless he has the monopoly or the Year of Plenty.
Yeah.
Year of Plenty it is. Is that the settlement?
Yeah, it should be. He's got wood and sheep in his hand still, so it should be brick and wheat. Should be enough to win. Yep. So
yeah.
And he's got a VP. Yep. That was a definitely exciting game.
Sure. Brutal game as well. Okay, let's see if we can make some information out of the die statistics here. Wow, that was so close. Like Vrej could have potentially take the game if Stocky Ranger didn't win it on this turn.
Yep.
However, that was very unlikely.
Get take road from him.
Yeah, so his out was Stocky Ranger having the knight and not getting the brick. So he had to get the wood, so then he should have blocked the brick probably. So then he would have to roll something that would get him the third brick. Or maybe roll 7 himself.